Hello, YouTube. I'm Michelle. I'm just going to share with you some tips and tricks for beginner sewists. So today I'm just going to cover one subject, and that is bird nesting. I've seen this question a million times on Reddit, and it is, why is my machine doing this? And it's usually attached to a picture of what is called bird nesting, or tangling the thread underneath the needle plate. So I'm just going to go through a few ways that you can troubleshoot this problem before you start to panic. First of all, check to make sure that your machine is clean. Did you clean it after your last project? If you are new and this is your first project, that's not going to be your issue. Don't worry about it. But if you have already sewn stuff, then you need to make sure that you've cleaned out any dust from the previous project. Open up that bobbin cover, remove the bobbin holder, remove anything you can, clean all the dust out, and then put it back together. If you have dust down there, it can tangle in the thread and cause a bird nest. So number 2, make sure your machine is threaded correctly. You want to thread it according to how the manufacturer says to thread it. All machines thread differently, so you're not going to be able to just look at everybody's machine or anybody's machine and figure out how to thread your machine. So when you are threading your machine, make sure that you have lifted your presser foot. If you don't lift the presser foot, it won't open the tension plate. If the tension plates aren't open, your thread won't go between them and it won't have the correct tension. There are a few things that every machine has, so we're going to make sure our presser foot is up all the way. Then you want to make sure you've gone through any guides on the top of the machine. If you don't go through the guides, it won't have the right tension. You'll always want to make sure that you are behind the tension disc if your tension is on the outside. If it's on the inside, it should go right into the tension discs when you go into the groove that the thread goes through. You'll want to make sure that you've got it in the uptake lever. Some of them are on the inside of the machine, some of them are on the outside. Mine is on the inside, so I just loop it through and it goes into the hook. If your tension lever is on the outside, it will have a little hole that you need to put your thread through. Then you'll go through any guides that are for your needle. Mine does not have a needle guide. This is manufactured this way. Most modern machines have a bar or a hook that you'll want to go through. Then you'll go through your needle. Make sure you go through the needle the right direction. Some go left to right, some go right to left, and some go front to back. Make sure you check your manual. Once you've guaranteed that you have your machine threaded according to the directions, which I recommend doing with book in hand until you learn your machine. Once you've made sure you've got that done and you're getting ready to start your stitches, put your presser foot down. You want to put that presser foot down. If you don't put it down before stitching, even if your material's thick and touching the foot, you still want to put it down. The reason this is because that presser foot controls the tension discs. If the foot is up, the discs will be open, and if the foot is down, the disc will be closed. This controls that tension on your thread. So make sure it's up when threading, down when stitching. Number 4, be sure you have the right needle. If you don't have the right needle, your machine's not going to behave properly. I will add a link to a needle guide in my video description, so if you need help with that, you can follow that guide. I did not write the guide, I just find it helpful myself. Number 5, hold your thread when you're getting ready to start. You should have about 3 or 4 inches of thread from the bobbin and the needle pulled up through the machine. Hang on to those and then start a few stitches. Once you have a couple stitches going, you can let go. Number 6, common mistake with newbies, pushing and pulling the fabric. Do not do this. If your machine is struggling, you can give a gentle nudge and then stop. And if your machine is working appropriately, it will pull that fabric through to stitch. You do not need to push or pull. You just guide it. Number 7, tension. Everybody likes to go to this one first. It's usually the last one I would recommend. Tension needs to be right. but it should already be right. It doesn't usually need to change very much. So if you bumped it, yeah, whatever, it needs adjusted. But your tension is usually between 2 and 4 on the machine, most machines. I'm not going to say all, and I'm not going to say every time, because it can differ depending on your fabric and your machine. But if you are still having issues after checking all of these other steps, then you can adjust your tension. If the thread is pulling through and leaving loops on the bottom, your tension is too loose. You need to turn the dial to a higher number. If your thread is pulling up and it's leaving loops on the top, then you need to turn your tension down to a lower number. If you're still having issues after checking all of these things, then I would suggest taking it to somebody to get it maintenance, to get a tune-up, whatever you need to do. But this should correct bird nesting. Thank you for watching. I hope that helps you, and I hope you have a wonderful day.